Well, hello there, and welcome. My name is Rusty Humphries. This is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. We're going to start a couple minutes earlier because at any moment now, President Trump is going to announce his pick for the Supreme Court, and I want to get your take. Do me a favor, though. First, check in. Who are you? Where are you a deplorable from? Let's get you in here and get this thing started, because tonight is a big night. Everybody, it's historical. Well, I mean, it is. It's a big night. There's a lot going on. There's a lot riding on this. The protesters are out in force, and they always are good for a little fun. Let's see. We got the protesters out there. Let's see if we can hear a little chanting. They're good at rhyming.
And my sister's here. Black should be murdered according to Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger. She's a murderer. Margaret Sanger, KKK. Margaret Sanger, KKK.
Okay.
Planned Parenthood, KKK.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's true. That Margaret Sanger was the head of the of Planned Parenthood, and she was the woman behind everything when for the abortion. Anyway, so we have the room getting ready. President Trump is about ready to get started. You could see lots of folks out there. Let's see. Do we got some audio going? My friend Jason's there. Anna says, "Make America Great Again." Pat is waiting for the new Supreme Court judge. William is there in Florida. Steve is from the state of Texas. Who else is there? Check in. Jerome says, "I can't wait to see the spin of the left." We already know what the spin of the left is. This is the worst possible, most right-wing, out-of-center pick possible, is what the left's going to say. It doesn't matter who it is. It will be the most extreme person imaginable, according to the left. Ron is there. Hello, Ron, in Indiana. Mary checking in from North Carolina. Anna is there. Jonathan is a deplorable from Delaware. Bobby is in Alabama. Hello, Tammy in Colorado. Larry is in Creek, Texas. Mike is in Miami. Tinsey is a proud California deplorable. Trump-Pence 2020. Looks like they're getting very close to the president coming out. This will be him right on time. Been in that room a couple of times. Daniel's there. Hi, Rusty, everyone watching in Colorado. Anthony is from Irvine, Arkansas. I want to know what you think. And as soon as there's an announcement, I want to know your take on it. Rita's popping the corn in Iowa. 3, 2, 1, boom. Quickly, let's switch over to the protesters. There we go. There's what's going on outside. Can't really hear them as well. Yeah, they're not as excited anymore. Okay, it looks like President Trump should be... there's Melania. Looking lovely as ever. Richard's there in Arkansas City, Kansas. Twan is there. Hi. Tammy says, "Thank you, Mr. President." Clark says, "I hear the Antifa dummies plan on converging on Sturgis in August. Not wise." John is from Philly. Travis, "Make America Great Again." Roy is in Florida. Daisy says, "Winning, winning, winning." David in Florida. Jerry's in Pennsylvania. Kara's there. Rose watching from Cape Coral, Florida. Judy waiting in Georgia. Pace, Florida. That's where Craig is. Bob's in Wyoming. Teresa says, "Hey," from Minnesota. Hey, Teresa. Dan's a Washington State deplorable. Travis says it's Kavanaugh for the win. Cindy from Boiling Springs. Jeff, Dallas, Texas in the house, ready to watch liberal heads explode. John says, good evening from St. John, Arizona. Kara says the word is it's Kavanaugh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
All right, we're hearing.
My fellow Americans, tonight I speak to you from the East Room of the White House regarding one of the most profound responsibilities of the President of the United States, and that is the selection of a Supreme Court justice. I've often heard that other than matters of war and peace, this is the most important decision a president will make. The Supreme Court is entrusted with the safeguarding of the crown jewel of our republic, the Constitution of the United States. 12 days ago, Justice Anthony Kennedy informed me of his decision to take senior status on the Supreme Court, opening a new vacancy. For more than 4 decades, Justice Kennedy served our nation with incredible passion and devotion. I'd like to thank Justice Kennedy for a lifetime of distinguished service. In a few moments, I will announce my selection for Justice Kennedy's replacement. This is the second time I have been faced with this task. Last year, I nominated Judge Neil Gorsuch to replace the late, great Justice Antonin Scalia. I chose Justice Gorsuch because I knew that he, just like Justice Scalia, would be a faithful servant of our Constitution. We are honored to be joined tonight by Justice Scalia's beloved wife, Maureen. Maureen? Thank you, Maureen. Both Justice Kennedy and Justice Scalia were appointed by a president who understood that the best defense of our liberty and a judicial branch immune from political prejudice were judges that apply the Constitution as written. That president happened to be Ronald Reagan. For this evening's announcement, we are joined by Ronald Reagan's Attorney General, Edwin Meese. Ed? And Ed, I speak for everyone. Thank you for everything you've done to protect our nation's great legal heritage. In keeping with President Reagan's legacy, I do not ask about a nominee's personal opinions. What matters is not a judge's political views, but whether they can set aside those views to do what the law and the Constitution require. I am pleased to say that I have found, without doubt, such a person. Tonight, it is my honor and privilege to announce that I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court. Among those opinions are more than a dozen that the Supreme Court has adopted as the law of the land. Beyond his great renown as a judge, he is active in his community. He coaches CYO basketball, serves meals to needy families, and, having learned from his mom, who is a school teacher in D.C., tutors children at local elementary schools. There is no one in America more qualified for this position, and no one more deserving. I want to thank the senators on both sides of the aisle, Republican and Democrat, for their consultation and advice during the selection process. This incredibly qualified nominee deserves a swift confirmation and robust bipartisan support. The rule of law is our nation's proud heritage. It is the cornerstone of our freedom. It is what guarantees equal justice. And the Senate now has the chance to protect this glorious heritage by sending Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court. And now, Judge, the podium is yours.
Mr. President, thank you. Throughout this process, I've witnessed firsthand your appreciation for the vital role of the American judiciary. No president has ever consulted more widely or talked with more people from more backgrounds to seek input about a Supreme Court nomination. Mr. President, I am grateful to you, and I'm humbled by your confidence in me. Thank you. 30 years ago, President Reagan nominated Anthony Kennedy to the Supreme Court. The framers established that the Constitution is designed to secure the blessings of liberty. Justice Kennedy devoted his career to securing liberty. I am deeply honored to be nominated to fill his seat on the Supreme Court. My mom and dad are here. I am their only child. When people ask what it's like to be an only child, I say, it depends on who your parents are. I was lucky. My mom was a teacher. In the 1960s and 70s, she taught history at two largely African-American public high schools in Washington, D.C., McKinley Tech and H.D. Woodson. Her example taught me the importance of equality for all Americans. My mom was a trailblazer. When I was 10, she went to law school and became a prosecutor. My introduction to law came at our dinner table when she practiced her closing arguments. Her trademark line was, "Use your common sense. What rings true? What rings false?" That's good advice for a juror and for a son. One of the few women prosecutors of that time, she overcame barriers and became a trial judge. The president introduced me tonight as Judge Kavanaugh, but to me that title always belonged to my mom. My dad went to law school at night while working full-time. He has an unparalleled work ethic and has passed down to me his passion for playing and watching sports. I love him dearly. The motto of my Jesuit high school was "Men for Others." I've tried to live that creed. I've spent my career in public service, from the executive branch and the White House to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. I've served with 17 other judges, each of them a colleague and a friend. My judicial philosophy is straightforward. A judge must be independent and must interpret the law, not make the law. A judge must interpret statutes as written, and a judge must interpret the Constitution as written, informed by history and tradition and precedent. For the past 11 years, I've taught hundreds of students, primarily at Harvard Law School. I teach that the Constitution's separation of powers protects individual liberty. And I remain grateful to the dean who hired me, Justice Elena Kagan. As a judge, I hire 4 law clerks each year. I look for the best. My law clerks come from diverse backgrounds and points of view. I am proud that a majority of my law clerks have been women. I am part of the vibrant Catholic community in the DC area. The members of that community disagree about many things, but we are united by a commitment to serve. Father John Ensler is here. 40 years ago, I was an altar boy for Father John. These days, I help him serve meals to the homeless at Catholic Charities. I have 2 spirited daughters, Margaret and Liza. Margaret loves sports, and she loves to read. Liza loves sports, and she loves to talk. I have tried to create bonds with my daughters like my dad created with me. For the past 7 years, I have coached my daughter's basketball teams. The girls on the team call me Coach K. I am proud of our Blessed Sacrament team that just won the city championship. My daughters and I also go to lots of games. Our favorite memory was going to the historic Notre Dame UConn women's basketball game at this year's Final Four. Unforgettable. My wife Ashley is a West Texan, a graduate of Abilene Cooper Public High School and the University of Texas. She is now the town manager of our community. We met in 2001 when we both worked in the White House. Our first date was on September 10th, 2001. The next morning, I was a few steps behind her as the Secret Service shouted at all of us to sprint out the front gates of the White House because there was an inbound plane. In the difficult weeks that followed, Ashley was a source of strength for President Bush and for everyone in this building. Through bad days and so many better days since then, she has been a great wife and an inspiring mom. I thank God every day for my family. Tomorrow, I begin meeting with members of the Senate, which plays an essential role in this process. I will tell each senator that I revere the Constitution. I believe that an independent judiciary is the crown jewel of our constitutional republic. If confirmed by the Senate, I will keep an open mind in every case, and I will always strive to preserve the Constitution of the United States and the American rule of law. Thank you, Mr. President.
So 53-year-old D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals Judge Brett Kavanaugh has been nominated by President Trump to be in the Supreme Court. See if the president has any more comments. We'll take some of your comments in a second. And we will also go take a look and see what the left is doing out in front of the White House and the Supreme Court coming up in just a second. Looks like that's it. And so the president has announced the new Supreme Court nominee. And my question is to you, do you like it? Are you happy? Does that make you, is that what you've been looking for? Now, we do know, let me turn the audio off of that. We do know the left is not going to be happy. Let's take a quick look at what they're saying. Out in front of the Supreme Court right now, they're not happy. End Citizens United. See the signs here. Hands in the balance. They're not really holding the signs up very well. We demand justice for all. Save SCOTUS. There's the gay flag.